Monetarists derive their theories from the tradition of the classical theorists, who, I repeat, never managed to explain the paradox of value, because they conceived economics in terms of aggregates of goods. Monetarists' main characteristic is their lack of a suitable theory of capital. The theory of capital is key, as I explained in class when we discussed the rudiments of capital theory. It connects the micro and the macro sides of economics. It is the bridge which enables us to grasp how an injection of money in the form of credit expansion impacts the specific decisions of entrepreneurs and leads them to commit systematic investment errors. And as we have already seen, capital theory revolves entirely around the temporal concept of the productive structure. Every process of production comprises a series of successive stages, each of which takes time. We visualized these stages by considering the example of the manufacture of a car, and we illustrated them using our customary triangular charts, which are necessarily highly simplified. We imagined there were 5 stages. These charts have enabled us to clearly visualize the sound investment entrepreneurs need to make of genuine saving, and how it gives rise to a more capital-intensive productive structure, which contains more stages, is more vertical, and thus becomes more productive in the long run. In contrast, we also saw that when the process is not financed with prior genuine saving, but with artificial credit expansion generated by a privileged banking system operating with a fractional reserve and orchestrated by a central bank, initially the productive structure lengthens, as before. However, because the process is financed with artificial credit expansion, and real resources are not freed as a result of an increase in saving, the process inevitably tends to reverse in the form first of a financial crisis and then of a deep economic recession. Well, monetarists completely overlook this entire approach. Monetarists conceive the economy based on a model they call the circular flow of income. It is an oversimplified model which contains households and firms. The firms pay rent to the households, which in turn spend it on the products the firms produce, and so on. The model of the circular flow of income was originally devised by the founder of the monetarist Chicago school, Frank Knight. The main characteristic of the model is that it totally eliminates the temporal concept of the structure of production. In the model, there are no stages in the production process. There are merely 2 sectors, consumption and investment. And what households, families, spend on consumption goes straight to investment. To monetarists, it is inconceivable that the productive structure consists of a series of successive stages, from those closest to consumption to those furthest away, as we saw when we talked about the extraction of iron ore or the designing of a car. The model of the circular flow of income is simply an oversimplification, which eliminates the most important characteristic of the process of production, its temporal nature, its temporal structure. This model is the application, within the sphere of macroeconomics, so to speak, of another synchronic view which also does away with time, Walras's general equilibrium model. Leon Walras was a 19th century mathematical economist who used a system of simultaneous equations to describe the economy, in which he imagined everything happening at once, with no temporal structure. It is a kind of still photo of an equilibrium model, which by definition eliminates entrepreneurial creativity, and, what is more important, the temporal structure of stages which make up the production process. Within the monetarist school, 2 economists apply this view, which does away with time and entrepreneurial creativity, to the sphere of macroeconomics. One is the American economist John Bates Clark. Clark conceives capital as a sort of mass, a fund which replicates itself apart from the decisions of individuals. It is a kind of fund which lasts indefinitely. Clark refers to the indefinitely self-perpetuating character of that fund or mass, which he considers capital to be, And that same absurd concept of capital as a photo or self-replicating mass was inherited by Frank Knight, the founder of the Chicago School in the early 20th century.
De Chicago en la primera mitad del siglo XX.